Good afternoon, all. Thank you for joining us here at Stories from the Frontline. My name is Rudy Espinoza. I'll be today's MC. Before we hear from our speakers, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. For the past 8 years, I've had the honor of serving as the Executive Director of Inclusive Action for the City, a nonprofit community development financial institution based here in Los Angeles. Inclusive Action does two things. We do policy advocacy, and we also administer economic development programs. And my job is to help guide those initiatives. A lot of the work that we do is really focused on building a strong local economy. We do that by making sure that we're working with partners to advocate for policies to support low-income communities, and by administering a growing loan fund that provides capital to small businesses that can't get capital elsewhere. And I've had a great time working with the team at Inclusive Action for the last 8 years, and I'm happy to be in solidarity with our allies here at the United Way and other people that are working to end homelessness. So I care a great deal about ending homelessness, and so does the team at Inclusive Action, because we see far too often the small businesses are really struggling, living paycheck to paycheck often, to pay for their housing and take care of their bills and all the basics that they need for their families. And we know that our economy cannot be strong if many of us are struggling to keep a roof over our heads. I know that we can do better. I know that a lot of our listeners today know that we can do better, and that's what we're going to be hearing about today. So today's program is all about small businesses, which are critical to the health of our local economy. Without small businesses, we can't have an economy, and that's really important. The failure to create a mix of housing across LA that affects everyone, that provides housing for everyone, is a serious thing. Unfortunately, many employees that work here in LA struggle to find an affordable place to live in LA, and that impacts, again, everyone's ability to thrive. I'd like to take a moment before we start and we introduce some of the speakers today to thank Target for their support of today's program. Target supports small businesses and entrepreneurs in the LA area by providing PPE in partnership with BizFed and the Greater African American Chamber of Commerce. They're also providing grant and microloan support through the Black Cooperative Reinvestment Fund and the Urban League of Los Angeles. And they're also helping to provide entrepreneurship training for the formerly homeless through LA Enterprise, which is an exciting initiative. Target is also committed to partnering with diverse suppliers and businesses to provide its guests the most relevant products. And as a retailer continues to use its scale and influence to help create a meaningful change, we really want to thank Target for helping us and being a sponsor of these stories today. So with that, I'd like to introduce the women behind Lived Experience Life Consulting Co-op. This is a really exciting business that we have a lot to learn from. They work to transform social structures, institutions, and individuals through speaking, advocacy, and training to redefine culture that supports everyone to work and live together. Zandre Johnson, Lorraine Canley, and Rihanna Diaz have all overcome homelessness and are accomplished CSH Speak Up advocates. Their individual and collective stories are remarkable. And without further ado, I want us to please welcome our neighbors, Zandre, Lorraine, and Rihanna. Welcome.
With all that you guys have experienced and gone through and transformed in your lives, what brought you to launch this business and why now?
So the Lived Experience Life Consulting Co-op has come about because we have all lived through lots of trauma, including homelessness and being impacted by the criminal injustice system and by practices that aren't inclusive in the workplace. We've been impacted by the way that systems leave people harmed. And so we wanted to help systems heal the harm and include folks in the living and the working together. So that's where our consulting co-op has found the foundation to utilize where we already started off as Speak Up advocates. Now we've moved from just telling the story to being involved in the way that businesses are ran and how we can help them transform that culture into one that's inclusive of everyone, since most of us have been impacted by the injustices of systems.
Beautifully said. Brianna, if you can share what brought you into this now, and why do you think it's important to be doing this work at this time?
I got introduced to a collective remake from Lorraine also. We were in our internship, and she had like brought in a flyer, and it said like, if you were incarcerated before, you were homeless, you know, you've suffered certain types of trauma, you know, this and this and that. And I was like, wow, that like totally fits my criteria right there. And so I just decided to look into it. I had no idea what a co-op was before this. I took the collective remake classes on back before COVID. They were done on Saturdays. To my surprise, like I saw Zandre there too, and she was one of my favorite people also in CSH Speak Up advocacy. And so Lorraine had brought up the idea of doing a co-op, like a consulting co-op, and like Zandre had even said, like it was we already kind of did it in CSH Speak Up. And I just, for me, it's always been like a thing. Like I lived before I was even homeless, I lived kind of like a life where I just didn't know where I was going. I was like, you know, I didn't know, because of my past, you know, incarceration, my you know, my trauma, my, you know, mental illness, all that. So to me, like it shows, it's a part of like inclusiveness. It's like, you know, I feel like I'm doing something to make sure that like nobody's left out, and you know, and it helps that we're all, you know, in this together. And I like the idea in co-ops of it being like a democracy kind of you know, put together, where it's you know, one person, one voice, you know, you know, we all take part, but you know, we all have equal share in the business. So that's what, you know, I like that, because I enjoy working as a team with these ladies, and it's a lot of fun too.
What is your greatest hope for the lived experience life consulting co-op? I mean, it almost sounds like a diversity and inclusion group. And so I'd love to know, like, what's your greatest hope for this, for what you all are able to do?
My greatest hope is that people get to see that there is life after Speak Up. You know, we all have a right to go through life doing our fullest, you know, and taking everything that we've learned and making it something great for not just ourselves, but for everyone who's been through so much trauma, so much injustice in the criminal justice system, you know, some hope, some future, you know, because we all know, like, when we go apply for a job, the first thing that kind of makes me quiver is when it says, have you ever been convicted of a felony? Now, I haven't been arrested in 19 years, but I still quiver when I get to that question, because sometimes without even knowing the circumstances of that case, the denial is in there for that employment. And so it was always in my heart to create something or be with individuals who are creating something that fits the need of me as a person growing through all of that trauma that I've been through, you know. And I figure, like, I'm not the only one. It's a whole lot of people going through this type of difficulty and not knowing where to dream big at, you know. So I'm hoping that, you know, what we're doing, it gives them that big wide space of dreaming big, even if they don't even come into the co-op part of it, but just to dream as big as they can dream and pursue it. You know, that hope is where I'm at with that. So I wanted to put that in there.
Beautiful.
We have this system that is constantly leaving people harmed. And then we want people to be purposeful. We want them to be giving back to the community. We want them to work. We want them to earn their keeps in being able to sustain housing. But we don't have a lot of systems of support in place to help the businesses see how to include people. And even if you get hired, right? If you get hired, but you don't feel like you really belong, if you're not truly included, then what? You end up letting go of the job, or the job end up letting you go. So I see that we will help in the way that we've already been doing so, right? We talk about partnering with lived experience in meaningful, valuable ways. But when we think about how that happens, it's not just a checking of the box, like, oh, I've invited them in and now I've given them a task and now they are considered peer specialists and now let's photocopy social workers and case managers. But no, let's create flexibility, right? Let's create the flexibility that allows for people who have navigated living through life in this way and match them up with people who are now coming out of the institutions, people who are now coming off of the streets and into housing. And let's allow that flexibility, right? Usually our flexibility is constrained because of funders and the way that they offer funding. But with the consulting co-op, we have the autonomy to have that flexibility in how we do the work.
You know, I just see a place of inclusiveness and a place where everybody, you know, has that one really good purpose, and everybody can use that purpose to do good in society. So,
you know, the opportunity for individuals who have been through what I've formerly been through deserve to have a new life. Like, what's the restraint here? You know, like, okay, so we had a problem in life, and now today we're different individuals. And in saying that, you're saying I can't have a better life. You know, that don't go together for me. So I think that it should be opened up for people to have a real second chance. Not that second chance that's just on paper, like, okay, you get a second chance. But no, that real second chance that allows you to go in with a business plan, open up a business, you know, be self-sustainable in your community, giving back, you know, you're not involved in the law anymore as far as being incarcerated. You're not involved in homelessness anymore because you have a place to live that's permanent supportive housing, you know, and it's almost like you're the solution, you know, and they should, I don't know if I should say they. Yeah, I'll say they. They should, you know, allow individuals to take that second chance and literally live it.
My name is Rhiannon Diaz.
My name is Lorraine Catley.
So my name is Zandre Johnson.
And
we are your neighbors.
Thank you, Zandre, Rihanna, and Lorraine. That was amazing. Your combined expertise is clearly helping clients and will help many more clients, I hope, to make transformational changes in the way that they do business and the way they contribute to our economy. I want to go on to the next speaker here, folks. Our next speaker is Andrew McDonald from With Love Market and Cafe. I know Andrew, I know he's been doing a lot of great work in our city for a very long time. His business was established in 2016. With Love is a community-centered business venture that seeks to address inequalities disproportionately affecting the minority community of South LA. As a for-profit business with a nonprofit community development arm, With Love is working to create a sustainable, replicable model for healthy food access, employment, and community empowerment in urban and under-resourced areas. Please help me in welcoming Andrew.
Hi, my name is Andrew McDowell, and I'm the founder of With Love Market and Cafe in South LA. We're a social enterprise that's focused on meeting the needs of healthy food access, safe community space, and jobs for our local neighbors. And we do that in our cafe and grocery store, which I'll show you in just a second. And it's changed a little bit because of the COVID restrictions, but we're really a space that was kind of a community hub, a place where nonprofits, a place where local neighbors could hang out, study, work, get some great food. And you could also apply for a job if you were looking for a safe space to work. So this was really kind of our vision, and we're now 5 years old. And let me show you a little bit around. With Love is a space that now is mostly focused on grocery at the moment, but we used to be able to serve lots of people in the cafe that would study, that would work and have meetings. So it used to be a gathering space but now we've changed to be more focused on grocery and food delivery, and that's because of the changes required by the pandemic. This allows us to rely a little bit more on steady revenue, but not have as many opportunities to grow revenue significantly. So while the revenue is more steady, focusing more on the grocery side, it still isn't nearly as much as it used to be when we had more catering, more in-store cafe, and food business. So a lot of businesses have had to pivot that way, and you can tell that we are very similar. Now with outdoor dining back, we don't have a lot of outdoor customers yet. Slowly people will come back and realize that it is safe to eat outdoors, but for now, we are just focusing on grocery and delivery options in store. Now that you've seen a little bit of our space, you can tell that we're really a big welcoming place for our South LA neighbors. We, despite COVID, have been able to meet a lot of other needs by doing food boxes for families and for our lower income neighbors. And that's really been a special partnership that we've had with nonprofits, churches, and schools. With Love has not given up on our vision. We've just changed a little bit with COVID. And that's enabled us to stay open, to stay hiring and employing our local neighbors, and really just being joyful each day. We have hope that things will get better. We work hard to work through the challenges that we have right now, but we do believe we're better together. So we hope that you also partner with Love, partner with United Way, and really make this a better place. So thank you for listening. And my name is Andrew, and I am your neighbor.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for sharing your work and your vision for With Love Market and Cafe in the community. It's so inspiring to see folks out here trying new things and pivoting during this crisis, this pandemic they're in, and really trying to get folks good jobs and healthy food. Next, I want to invite Mark Laranger from Chrysalis. Chrysalis is an amazing organization that focuses on creating a pathway to self-sufficiency for individuals experiencing homelessness or financial barriers. And they do this by providing job readiness training and transitional job opportunities. So Chrysalis is really, boots on the ground, getting people jobs. It's really exciting to see the work that they're doing. Mark, during his tenure as president and CEO, he has led significant expansion of Chrysalis, including doubling programmatic outcomes and opening new locations. In 2020, more than 1,500 clients secured employment, and more than 1,500 worked a transitional job while utilizing Chrysalis' services. And that's the exciting part, is that not only is Mark and his team at Chrysalis getting people jobs, but they're also providing other services to make sure that they can keep those jobs and grow and take care of their families. So without further ado, I want to welcome Mark.
I appreciate the opportunity to join everyone in campaign and share a little bit about our work at Chrysalis and how small businesses are really an important part of fulfilling our mission. Chrysalis is a nonprofit that works with folks that have been disconnected from the workplace, people that have experienced homelessness or the criminal justice system, and we help them find and retain jobs. Now, there are a lot of steps in the process of helping someone out of poverty and homelessness. And of course, housing is the first part of that puzzle. But having a job is right behind housing, because without the income and security of a job, it's difficult to find and maintain a place to stay. In fact, data from the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority has found that loss of a job or other economic disruption is the #1 reason individuals fall into homelessness for the first time. Now, we know that a job's important for income, it's important access to benefits and for security that it provides, but it's so much more than that. Job means dignity, it means self-respect, it means having agency in life and being relevant and connected to your family and community. At Chrysalis last year, we helped over 1,600 individuals find jobs, and that's in the midst of a pandemic. Here's where small businesses come in. Most of these clients were actually hired by small businesses. Why? Well, because when you're applying for a job with a small business, you're talking to the decision maker, someone who can make a judgment about a candidate based on their merits, on their future potential. Sometimes larger employers have administrative processes that are difficult to navigate, and they set up roadblocks for our clients. Not our friends at locally owned small businesses. They have an immediate business problem, and our clients are ready, willing, and able to help them solve it. A great example of the type of partnership with a local small business is one that we have with the National Health Foundation. National Health provides recuperative care services to individuals that have experienced homelessness, and they were selected as one of the operators of Project Room Key sites in Los Angeles County, hotels that were put into service during the pandemic to provide housing to some of our most vulnerable community members. National Health staff was really stretched thin by this new project, and so they turned to us for temporary staffing support, one of our employment social enterprises. And so on any given week, we have about 20 Chrysalis staffing employees that are working at National Health sites. But what's even better than that, 10 of them have now been hired permanently and joined the National Health Foundation staff as full-time employees. These are good paying jobs that are in a growing sector that also give our clients the satisfaction of giving back to their community. We hear time and time again from our employer partners that our clients are the hardest working, most dedicated members of their teams. So if you own a small business, or if you know someone that does, and you're looking to add talent to your business, you can help yourself and help your community by hiring individuals from programs like Chrysalis. You can learn more about our program by visiting our website, changelives.org. My name is Mark Laranger, and I'm your neighbor.
Thank you so much, Mark, for sharing your work and the work of Chrysalis. It's really inspiring to see not only how you're experimenting, but you're also scaling this huge hiring initiative to make sure that folks have good jobs here in Los Angeles. The next person that we're going to hear from is Chef Jocelyn Ramirez. Chef Ramirez is the owner and the founder of a company called Todo Verde. It's a woman of color-owned food business inspired by Latin American roots that provides healthy and delicious plant-based, culturally relevant dishes to the East LA community and beyond. Chef Ramirez is committed to advancing food equity in low-income neighborhoods and is working to create lifestyle shifts with healthy eating and self-care through awareness and access to naturally good food. So please welcome Jocelyn.
Hello, my name is Jocelyn Ramirez, and I'm the chef and founder of plant-based food business here in Los Angeles called Todo Verde. I focus on creating more access to healthy plant-based Mexican food, especially to the population that I serve most, which is the East Side community of Los Angeles. And I wanted to start this journey with Todo Verde because I wanted to create a bridge between the gap of this lack of access to healthy food in low-income communities of color. And so it's really a mission-based business that focuses on trying to advance these efforts, advance these conversations about why there are systems in place that don't allow people to feel well in their own communities, don't have access to all the food that they should have access to, as compared to even just other areas of the city here in Los Angeles. And because my business is so mission-oriented, I've always had the focus of making sure that my colleagues, my staff are taken care of, whether that means that they're getting paid above whatever the state regulated minimum wage is, that they're getting reimbursed, that they receive bonuses when they do really great work, and most of all that they feel like they have a secure job if this is their main efforts to get paid, so that they can not fear that they're going to get completely cut from hours when they're really depending on this job. And more than that, I think it's really important to build up our team members to become future leaders of whatever it is that they plan to do in the future. I don't always assume that people want to work with Todo Verde or work with me for years and years. It may be a stepping stone or a bridge for them to go on to do things in their career. And I think that it's really an important opportunity for us to build people up, to give them really tactical skills that then they can take on to whatever future job that they choose to have in the future. So it's really important for us as leaders, as entrepreneurs, as small business owners to invest the time and effort into this community of people who are helping us grow our small businesses, to grow our babies, our ideas, our dreams. And so it's really important to make sure that we treat the people around us that we work with as a family, and that they feel supported, that they feel like they are gaining something beyond a paycheck, that they're gaining skills, relationships, and building for a better future. So I hope that that permeates to other areas of the food industry, since we know it is an ongoing struggle to raise prices or to pay people more living wages. So that is a goal, that is a dream, and that is the work that I'm trying to do with Todo Verde. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Jocelyn Ramirez, and I am your neighbor.
Thank you so much, Chef Ramirez. I want to invite everybody to support Todo Verde. Imagine if all businesses were thinking not only about building a strong business, but also thinking about how they impact the community and how they treat workers. Let's all make sure we support Todo Verde and other businesses like hers. So without further ado, I'm so excited to introduce our musical guests for today. The group is called Urban Voices Project, and I want to invite them to the stage. Urban Voices Project uses music to elevate vulnerable individuals to a sense of purpose and improved health. UVP engages individuals and families throughout LA with music workshops in partnership with social, civic, and healthcare organizations. Their outreach ensemble performances shift the narrative and the perception of homelessness in today's society. Please welcome our neighbors and our friends, Urban Voices Project.
Hi, I'm Leof Sofer, the Artistic Director and co-founder of Urban Voices Project, a nonprofit and a choir based in Skid Row. We're made up of artists that all have had their own stories from the front lines. That being said, I hope you guys enjoy our piece today, featuring Bertel Brinkley and the rest of the Urban Voices Project ensemble. We'll see you guys soon. Stay safe.
I walk in the spirit, I walk in the light, I walk through the darkest hours of night, and I call all my ancestors to my left and my right, to walk with me, to walk with me. I walk in the spirit, I walk in the light, I walk in the darkest hours of night, and I call all my ancestors to my left and my right, to walk with me, to walk with me. I walk in the spirit, I walk in the light, I walk in the service of doing what's right, and I call all my ancestors to my left and my right, to walk with me, to walk with me. I walk in the spirit, I walk in the light, I walk with the knowledge that we'll be alright, and I call all my ancestors to my left and my right, to walk with me, to walk with me.
I walk in the light, I walk through the darkest hours of night, and I call all my ancestors
To my left and my right, to walk with me, to walk with me.
I walk in the spirit,
I walk in the light,
I walk with my neighbors to fight the good fight.
and I call all my ancestors to my left and my right, to walk with me, to walk with me.
I walk in the spirit,
I walk in the light
I walk for the safety
of every black life, and I call all my ancestors to my left and my right, to walk with me, to walk with me.
I walk in the spirit,
I walk in the light,
Thank you so much for that beautiful performance. Urban Voices Project, look them up, support them. That was amazing. And next, I want to really make sure that the coffee lovers out there are paying attention and listening up because our next guest is all about coffee. So for over 20 years, Tony Jolly has been in the coffee business. Together with his wife, Tina, they own and operate Hot and Cool Cafe and Crenshaw Coffee Company in Leimert Park. Hot and Cool is a vegan cafe, community space, and coffee shop. Its mission is to ensure that communities have access to Black-centered arts and culture, delicious plant-based food, and employment opportunities. I want us to all please welcome Tony, who's going to tell us a little bit about his business and his vision.
Welcome to Hot and Cool Cafe. I'm Tony Jolly, one of the founders, and you're here in Leimert Park. We opened up Hot and Cool April 2018, and since then it's become a space for the community. Since COVID, we've dug deeper into community because you have to put in work if you say you're part of it. We've been doing senior meals ever since. We adopted 50 seniors and we've been feeding them because somebody has to. Hot and Cool is a place where before we had music, we had workshops. It was a place where people come and gather and grow. COVID has stopped that, but we're still working. We've been on the front line since March 16th. We've never opened. Since then, the senior meals, we've started a community fridge. I'm gonna take y'all outside so y'all can see. 2 young people, they really wanted to give back to the community. They really wanted to feed the community. So they got with LA Community Fridge, they got with us to host it, and voila, this was born. We started off with a fridge, and now with a pantry, canned goods. I'm gonna take those multi-grain rings home because I love cereal. Full with produce all the time. Right now we got ready-to-go foods. It's been a blessing to the community, like Hot and Cool itself, and the community has blessed us. We're gonna be on the front lines until we can. My name is Anthony Jolly, and I'm your neighbor.
Thank you so much, Tony. I hope that all of us listening are planning on visiting Hot and Cool Cafe to grab our coffee and our food. With that, I want to take us over to the Deputy Director of Organizing at the Everyone In campaign, Gabriela Solorzano. Gabriela is passionate about language justice and cooperative models, and she's doing a lot of amazing work at the Everyone In campaign. She spends her free time exploring all the nature the city has to offer with her husband, Cesar, and their 2 children. Please welcome our neighbor, Gabriela.
Hello, my name is Gabriela Solorzano, and I'm with the Everyone In campaign through United Way. And we are a campaign to end homelessness across the county. When I joined the team 3 years ago, I didn't quite know what that meant. But now we've been able to help build supportive housing across the county. We've been able to pass Measure J this last year, which will bring resources to the entire county and our most vulnerable neighbors. And we are currently also working on cancel rent protections for our neighbors during this pandemic. And we've also seen our small businesses be impacted during this pandemic. And I urge everyone to go and visit their local restaurant or their local cafe to ensure that we can keep our neighbors, not just our neighbor's house, but our businesses also in place. LA and California have been hit the hardest during the pandemic. We've seen thousands of restaurants close since March of 2020 of last year. And we want to ensure that we can continue to have these small businesses. And additionally, through the efforts with United Way, we've been working on different local, state and county policies to ensure that we can continue to have our neighbors housed and our families in their homes through a a rent moratorium that was just announced by Governor Newsom that was extended into June 30th of later this year. So we want to ensure that you, as a neighbor of LA County, support the different policies that will help our neighbors get off the streets or also stay housed. So please support a local business, and I am your neighbor.
Thank you so much, Gabriela. That was great. We really appreciate you sharing the work that's taking place here in LA. Next, we're going to hear from Mr. Miguel Lugo, who, after serving an 18-year sentence in the California prison system, is now head of security and community relations at Homeboy Industries. Homeboy Industries, as many of us know, is the largest gang rehabilitation and reentry program in the world. For over 30 years, they have provided training and support to formerly gang-involved and previously incarcerated men and women, allowing them to redirect their lives and become contributing members of our community. Please welcome your neighbor, Miguel.
Hi, my name is Miguel Lugo from Homeboy Industries. I first came to Homeboys in 2015 after being released from prison after serving 18 years with a life sentence. When I first got out of prison on Friday, I waited for Monday to walk into Homeboy Industries. Monday morning when I walked in, I thought I was just getting tattoo removal. On my way in, I seen the same guy that jumped me into my gang when I was 9 years old with a tie and a suit, telling me he's an executive at Homeboys. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. I was looking at him, and I remember this hardcore gang member from the streets that now is able to tell me, come on, let me help you. He asked me if I wanted a whole different way of life here at Homeboy Industries. I told him I'm just here for tattoo removal. He said, well, let me get you in. He got me in. He went and talked to Father Greg when I was doing my first session. Father Greg seen me after getting out of tattoo removal and says, you got a job, son. You start tomorrow. My first job, I was shocked. I just looked and I was like, wow, what's going on here? Why these people are willing to help me? And I came into work, started working and cleaning windows and doing everything I needed to do to keep this job. Father Greg walks up to me and asks me what was I doing. I told him, I'm working. What you hired me to do? He tells me, no, son, here you work in the inside. So I walked inside the building thinking he meant the inside of the building. And he calls me again and he tells me, no, son, the inside was broken inside here. I told him, oh, okay, Father Greg. So you want me to go to class? He says, yes. So I took off. I went to class. After that, it never stopped. I had gone to classes the whole time I was here. Being part of that, I was able to find out things about myself that I didn't understand. And the next thing that I was able to get was therapy. Something that I was amazed that they gave me therapy for free. I always thought this was for white people that had all these problems. So like, I never had a problem, but obviously I was really messed up. And now, being able to go to therapy, being able to have therapy, is amazing. You're able to become yourself. You're able to find yourself. Like Father Greg says, you're able to be what God intended you to be. And here at Homeboy Industries, 5 years later, I'm head of security, community relations. I'm able to work with the community. I'm able to walk the next guy that's coming in, that's trying to leave the drugs alone, that's trying to leave, that's tired of being homeless, that's tired of being in the streets, that says I'm ready for the change. I'm able to be the wholesale Osuna that walked me in to Homeboy Industries. So I'm able to give it back now and pay it back. And here at Homeboy Industries, one of the guys, Robert Juarez, says, stability before mobility. And I didn't understand it at first. But when I buy my home, I'm really clear on what that means. That you have a bed, or you have a bed to go to sleep. You got a roof over your head. That you're able to have food in your refrigerator. That you know, no longer the guy that slept in the streets in somebody's alley. No longer the guy that was too high to do anything else. But the guy that was in the streets lost. Now I found myself, and I can see the light in the end of the tunnel. I'm able to find happiness and being with my family, happiness and just having a home. And like I always tell people, it's not the best house in the block, but it's my house. And it feels good just to be free. I served 18 years in prison, and a lot of trauma happened behind all this. And here at Homeboy Industries, I'm able to work on my trauma, and I'm able to work with other people through their trauma. Here, Homeboy Industries, we are the place that changes your life. This is the place that changed my life. We are your neighbors.
Wow. Thank you so much, Miguel, for your incredible story. We really appreciate you sharing your journey, but also the impactful work that's taking place at Homeboy. With that, I want to invite our final speaker, the president and CEO of the United Way of Greater LA, Elise Buick. In 2015, Elise became the first woman to hold the post of CEO at the United Way, and under her leadership, the United Way has done a tremendous amount of good work here in LA. They have launched their 10-year action plan, Creating Pathways Out of Poverty. And so with that, I want to welcome your neighbor, Elise, who will tell us a little bit more about that.
Hi, I'm Elise Buick with United Way. I want to thank you for joining our virtual Stories from the Frontline. We're looking forward to when we can be together in person again. Special thank you to Rudy for moderating today's discussion and for all the great work that he does at Inclusive Action. I hope you are as inspired as I am by our amazing entrepreneurial speakers. This spirit is what fuels our economy. But sadly, we know that this pandemic has taken a real toll on small business owners, and we must do everything in our power to help them. We know firsthand the link between workers and housing. Sadly, many people's health has been put at risk due to overcrowded housing conditions. An estimated 1.5 million households are paying 90% of their income on housing. This is not sustainable and it's not right. And at United Way, we are fighting every day for housing for all. So I hope that you will join us in really ensuring that everyone has a right to affordable housing that's near their work, that's near transit, and that's near their kids' school. That's what we're fighting for every day, and we can't do it without you. So please join everyoneinla.org to be part of the solution. My name is Elise, and I am your neighbor.
Thank you so much, Elise, for your leadership and for sharing a little bit about the great work the United Way is doing and will continue to do as we seek to end homelessness and take care of our small businesses and make sure our economy is working for everyone. So many people came together to make this afternoon possible, and for that, we are grateful. Thank you to everyone who shared such powerful stories. I want to specifically thank today's partners, our co-hosts, Stories from the Frontline, the John and Marilyn Wells Family Foundation, thank you so much. Of course, Target, Chrysalis, and all the folks who share their powerful stories with us today. Thanks again for being with us. I'm Rudy, and I am your neighbor.